My sister Ava made it her life's mission to turn her wedding into the worst night of mine. She publicly shamed me as the pitiable past her prime spinster. She literally shoved me at the kids' table, deliberately threw her bouquet the other way, and flashed a smug smile. She loudly announced I'd be waiting a lot longer because I was 38. I was about to burst into tears and just leave. But right then, a mysterious man leaned in close. He whispered in my ear, "Act like we're engaged." The jaw-dropping twist that followed completely ruined my sister's perfect wedding. It became the shock of her life. You will not believe the insane way justice finally came. If you've ever been humiliated just for being single, or had your self-worth minimized by your own family, you need to hit subscribe right now. You have to see this unbelievable karma unfold. This is us fighting for justice and healing together. The ballroom was absolutely dripping in crystal chandeliers. The air smelled of fresh flowers. Wine glasses chimed softly. But I was just staring at the tiny name card in my hand. Table 15. The single kids table. This was the corner where Ava deliberately parked me. She wanted the whole world to see that her big sister, Mia, 38, was still alone. She knew I focused on design school and my career. Ava is 10 years younger, and she constantly taunted me for being overdue. I'm Mia, and maybe I should start from the beginning. This is how I became the biggest disappointment at my sister's stunning wedding. Ava and I have never been close. But her deep-seated jealousy turned everything into a silent war. She lied, telling people I was a failure just to boost herself as an influencer. Get this. She even stole the M with a rose logo idea from my personal collection, my symbol for Mia and creative strength, and kept it secret. Since getting engaged to Jack, a well-known finance guy, Ava wouldn't stop poking at me for being 38 and unmarried. She emphasized our 10-year age gap just to call me past my prime. My mom, Helen, basically nodded along. My dad, Thomas, just talked about the weather to avoid conflict. The morning of the wedding, Ava called. Her voice was pure cotton candy poison. "Mia, this must be hard for you today, right?" she said, fake sympathizing. "Seeing everyone so happy in love. Just don't do anything weird, okay? Like the time you talked all night with the DJ at Aunt Linda's wedding." I heard her friend giggle in the background. My fingers went white clutching my phone. I could hear my own pulse pounding in my ear. That was my first warning sign. I walked into the extravagant Chicago venue in my expensive navy blue dress. Sophie, Ava's best friend, rushed over with a fake sweet smile and a seating chart. "Mia, let me walk you to your table," she sickly cooed. I followed, my heels clicking on the marble floor. I felt like I was walking into a trap. Table 15 was right next to the kitchen entrance. Servers were constantly running in and out, trays clanging. My table mates were teen cousins. One was glued to TikTok. Another complained the salad tasted like dishwater. Aunt Linda, Ava's side of the family, looked at me with pity. "Have you tried dating apps? It's tough at your age," she said, sipping her wine. Sophie jumped in. "Yoga classes are packed with single people." I pressed my lips together, my hand gripping my clutch. I felt the angry pulse throbbing in my temples, fighting hard to swallow the lump of rage in my throat. But the real humiliation hit during the family introductions. The room buzzed with laughter. Chandelier light reflected off all the expensive suits and gowns. Ava dragged me over to Jack's family, clearly the old money elite. She asked me to give a little speech about the joys of single life. But first, she turned to everyone, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Mia is a living example of getting so caught up in work, you forget about love." Everyone offered weak chuckles. I felt tiny in front of the crowd, blood rushing to my face, burning like I was on fire. Jack's mom, Aunt Helen, looked me up and down. "Oh, don't worry, dear," she said, patting my hand, her diamond nails flashing. "Everyone has someone out there. Have you tried salsa dancing? My cousin met her husband there." Ava burst out laughing, the kind of laugh that makes you want to disappear. "Mia is so independent, right, sis? The queen of the single ladies." The word independent sounded like a curse in her mouth. My voice was shaky as I forced out a response. "I just haven't met the right person yet." For the next hour, I was surrounded by Ava's friends and Jack's relatives. Everyone offered unwanted advice. Jack's colleague told me to lower my standards a bit. Another girl told me about her 47-year-old aunt who married a widower with 3 kids. Even the photographer chimed in. While taking family pictures, he asked loudly, "Do you have a +1?" When I shook my head, he shrugged. Ava yelled, "Just the main people. We'll Photoshop her in later." I went totally red, eliminated from the perfect family. The breaking point was the bouquet toss. "All the single ladies to the dance floor!" The DJ screamed, hyped like a game show host. I tried to hide behind a marble column, but Sophie grabbed my arm. "Come on, Mia. Maybe you'll get lucky today." I was shoved into the middle of 20-somethings. Jack's little cousins were giggling, their sequin dresses flashing. Standing there, I felt like a lost middle-aged chaperone. My heart pounded with shame. Ava looked right at me, flashed that mocking smile, and intentionally threw the bouquet in the opposite direction. A 22-year-old named Lily caught it. The crowd cheered. Ava hugged her, announcing loud enough for the whole room to hear, "Mia will have to wait a lot longer. It's hard to keep up with the kids at this age, right, sis?" The laughter hit me like a physical blow. I retreated to my table. I fought back the tears, deciding I had to leave now. I had to accept the defeat. I stood up, clutch in hand. And then, a strange, commanding voice whispered right behind me. Cold but powerful. "Act like we're engaged." Do it to make them jealous. I spun around, startled. A man in a sharp black suit. Tall, maybe 6'2". Black hair. An aura of confidence that made the whole room pause. His eyes were intense but warm, like he saw straight through Ava's whole production. He slid smoothly into the chair next to me. The chair barely creaked. "Your sister just spent 10 minutes telling Jack's friends how pitiable you are for being alone," he murmured. His finger tapped lightly on the table. Silver light flashed off his watch. He was right. I glanced across the room. Ava was pointing at me from a distance, her mouth moving to Jack's friends. She was definitely telling them about my romantic failures. "I bet you didn't ask her to broadcast your personal life, did you?" he continued, his voice low and sharp. I blinked. My heart raced. He smiled, leaning closer. "I'm Ethan, Jack's uncle. Do you mind if I interrupt this little performance?" His tone was confident. His eyes twinkled with mischief. He was ready to flip the script. I shook my head. I was too stunned to speak. For the first time all night, I didn't feel invisible. "I'm Ethan, Jack's uncle," he said, extending his hand with a warm smile. "And you're Mia, the sister the entire family thinks needs to be rescued from perpetual singlehood, right?" Despite the tidal wave of humiliation, I actually laughed. "Yeah, I'm the family charity project," I managed, fighting to regain composure. "Not anymore," Ethan said. His smile was comforting but sly. I didn't know it then, but this encounter wouldn't just save me from that awful night. It would open a door where I'd win back my reputation and absolutely humiliate Ava twice as badly at my own wedding a year later. Ethan casually draped his arm across the back of my chair. He leaned in, talking like we were old friends. Immediately, I felt all eyes pivot toward us. Ava was talking to the wedding planner. She stopped mid-sentence. Her eyes went wide. Her lips pressed into a thin line when she saw us. Her perfect bride smile just froze. She rushed toward our table, her wedding gown sweeping the floor. It sounded like a weapon dragging behind her. "Mia!" she called out, her voice unnaturally high-pitched. "How do you know Ethan?" "An old friend," Ethan replied smoothly. His hand accidentally brushed mine on the table. It was awkward but intentional. He leaned in, sharing a fake secret. "I'm not great with these big parties, but I couldn't let you face this ridiculous spectacle alone." Ava narrowed her eyes. Her perfect bride facade was cracking. She looked totally off balance. "Really? Mia never mentioned you." "I like to keep things private," I shot back. I finally found my voice and a little confidence. "You know how busy I am with work." That hit her weak spot. Ava had spent the whole night broadcasting my single status. Now, she was desperate to pry into this non-existent relationship. "That's great," Ava said, but her voice was tight. You could hear the strain. How long have you two been close? Long enough, Ethan answered. His smile was cryptic. It gave away zero details, but made everyone incredibly curious. As Ava awkwardly walked away, a relative of Jack's whispered to another, "Is that the Ethan? He's usually so low-key. How is he close to Mia?" Ethan leaned close. His voice was full of intent. "She looks like she just bit into a very sour lemon." I couldn't help but grin. Ava isn't used to not controlling everything, especially when her sister starts stealing her thunder. "Good," he said. "Let her keep guessing." For the next hour, Ethan played the perfect partner. He grabbed me a drink from the bar. He laughed loudly at my stories. He touched my arm just enough to convince everyone we were an item. But more than the act, he genuinely listened when I spoke. He asked about my interior design firm, my passion for creativity, my recent trip to Italy for inspiration. Our eyes met and a spark ignited. I felt electricity run through me. "You are nothing like I expected," he said during a quiet moment between songs. "What did you expect?" Based on Ava's commentary? "Probably desperate and pathetic," he said bluntly. "But I'm sitting next to someone smart, creative, and honestly, I don't get why you're still single." "Because I have standards," I replied without thinking. He let out a warm, genuine laugh. It made my heart beat faster. Now Ava was openly staring at our table. I saw her frantically whispering to Sophie. She was pointing constantly, suspicion all over her face. Jack's relatives, the same people who pitied me earlier, now looked at Ethan with admiration. They clearly recognized him as a successful Silicon Valley entrepreneur. They were wondering how I snagged a guy like that. The tables were turning sweeter than I imagined. But Ethan wasn't done. The band started a slow ballad. After Ava had publicly excluded me from the dancing earlier, Ethan stood up. He held out his hand with that confident smile. "Dance with me," he stated. It wasn't a question. On the dance floor, his hand rested lightly on my waist. Mine was on his shoulder. I felt the scrutiny of every guest who had given me dating advice. But instead of feeling exposed, I felt protected. Ethan moved with a natural rhythm. Being close to him felt strangely real. He leaned in, whispering just loud enough for people nearby to hear, "You are an amazing designer, Mia. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." The crowd applauded. Guests murmured compliments. Their eyes shifted from Ava back to us. "Ava is watching," Ethan whispered as we glided across the floor. "I know," I said. "She looks like she's about to explode." Mission accomplished. I looked up at him. This stranger had restored my dignity with one simple move. That's when Ava cut in. "Mind if I cut in?" She popped up next to us, dragging Jack. She forced a fake smile, her eyes clearly showing her calculation. "Actually, yes," Ethan replied. Polite but firm. "We're having a moment." Ava's face went stiff. Her lips clamped shut under the curious gaze of the guests. "Of course," she stammered. "I just wanted to say I'm happy Mia finally found someone. The family worried about her a lot." "Oh, really?" Ethan asked. His voice was even, but his eyes were sharp knives. "Because based on what I've witnessed tonight, it seems you cared more about showing off your sister's single status than supporting her." His blunt honesty completely silenced Ava. Jack shifted awkwardly beside her. He clearly sensed the tension but didn't grasp the reason. I only want the best for Mia," Ava sputtered. Her perfect bride composure was crumbling. "Then show her some respect. Don't turn your sister's love life into entertainment for your guests," Ethan said. His voice was calm but cutting. I had never seen Ava this flustered. Her perfect bride smile vanished. Her shoulders slumped slightly. For the first time all evening, she looked small. "I have eyes," Ethan cut in. "I saw how you treated her all night." Jack finally spoke up. He was clearly uneasy about the public confrontation. "Maybe we should let them continue dancing." As they walked away, Ava was too angry to care about appearances. She was desperately whispering to Sophie. "That was so worth it," I admitted as we kept dancing. "We're not done yet," Ethan said. His smile made my heart skip a beat. We didn't need to say anything else. I felt something real shift between us. The rest of the party passed like a dream. I was the center of attention, not the object of pity. As dinner started, Ethan took my hand. "We are not sitting in the kitchen corner anymore," he declared. He called over a server, who clearly knew his status in Jack's family, and demanded, "Move us to the center table, now." Our new table was right under the chandelier, where everyone could see us laughing and talking like a real couple. Ava's friends, who had ignored me earlier, now wanted to chat and meet Ethan. Jack's relatives, who had pitied me, now treated me with newfound respect. They were curious about my mystery boyfriend. Aunt Helen, who suggested salsa classes, now wanted to know everything about Ethan's background. When she learned he was a successful tech entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, she squeezed my hand. Her voice was full of admiration. "Mia, you're so discreet. You never told us you were dating someone so brilliant." But the final turning point came during the garter toss. Jack was about to toss the garter to the single men. Ethan stepped up, oozing confidence. "Wait!" Ava called out, her voice laced with panic. She was tightly gripping her wine glass. "Ethan, you're not single." Ethan looked at me, then turned back to Ava with a knowing smile. "Actually, I am. Mia and I are just taking things slow, getting to know each other all over again." The garter landed right in his hand. He turned to me, playfully laying the garter on my leg. Ava's face was pure jealousy. The crowd roared with applause. Whether it was luck or Jack's intentional aim, Ava's furious expression said it all. Ethan catching the garter and placing it on my leg completely flipped the humiliation of the bouquet toss. That moment had a meaning no one, especially Ava, could miss. Traditionally, the garter goes on the person who catches the bouquet. But my cousin Lily had left early. "Looks like we need a volunteer," the DJ announced excitedly. Ethan looked at me, a silent question in his eyes. I nodded. The crowd cheered as I sat down. Ethan knelt in front of me. His fingers lightly brushed my ankle. The warmth radiated through the thin fabric. My heart hammered. Ava tried to smile, but her lips were pressed so tight they were white. Her face was frozen. She had to watch her pitiable sister become the center of positive attention at her own wedding. A spark ignited inside me. Like anything was possible now. As the reception ended, Ethan leaned in. His voice was deep and warm. "Let me take you home, Mia. I don't want this night to end yet." I smiled and nodded. He took my hand, fingers laced tight, and led me across the red carpet to a gleaming Rolls-Royce. Guests gasped. Murmurs of, "What a gorgeous couple," followed us. Their eyes tracked our every step, like we were the main event. Ava was near the exit with Jack, gripping her wine glass. Her eyes were sharp and cold. Her shoulders were tense. It was clear. Her plan to humiliate me had backfired, leaving her outshone. The parking lot was quiet. Just the click of my heels echoing in the dark. "Thank you," I finally said. Just the two of us now. "I know this was just an act tonight, but you saved me from the most humiliating experience of my life. Why do you think it was just an act?" He asked. His face was serious. His eyes locked on mine. My heart stopped. Because you don't even know me." "I know enough," he said, stepping closer. His breath brushed my cheek. "You are kind, strong, and beautiful. Your sister is an idiot for not seeing that." Tears welled up, but this time it was because my heart was melting. "Mia, I know this started as a rescue mission," he said. "But somewhere between the first dance and right now, it stopped being fake for me." He handed me a business card. A handwritten phone number was scribbled on the back. The handwriting was elegant. "If you want to see me again, not for revenge, not to prove anything, just because you want to, call me." I took the card with trembling hands. "What if I want to call you tonight?" He grinned. That confident smile made my heart leap. "Then I'll answer." In the Rolls-Royce on the way home, we talked about our passion for creativity and charity. Love blossomed under the blurred streetlights. 3 months later, Ethan and I were officially dating. 6 months after that, we moved in together. And exactly 1 year after Ava's wedding, He proposed to me at the same hotel where we first met. Ava's reaction was a silent movie of pure rage. She pursed her lips. Her eyes flashed with jealousy. She forced a congratulatory smile. The sister who used to make me feel worthless now had to watch me plan a wedding to a man who truly loved me. From a family more distinguished than Jack's. Real happiness was knowing I deserved true love. With or without Ava's approval, our wedding was smaller than Ava's, but overflowing with joy. We celebrated with people who genuinely wanted us to be happy. Ava, playing the matron of honor role she insisted on, gave a speech. She tried to talk about how thrilled she was I found love, how Ethan was clearly perfect, how she always knew I would find someone special. But then she completely slipped. She's so lucky to be getting married at her age, and to such a wealthy man, but talent-wise, she'll always be behind me. Her eyes darted around, her voice was shrill, her arrogance was undeniable. Guests whispered, Ava is trying way too hard. Her attempt to rewrite history was sickeningly transparent. A thought flashed through my mind. Not this time, Ava. Not anymore. I spoke up. My voice was calm. I wasn't going to bring this up. The past is the past. But now, let's be clear. Ava, do you know what the little M design in your logo stands for? Ava stammered, flustered. It's just a small detail. I pressed a button. A large screen lit up, showing my original hand-drawn sketch. The M with a rose logo was blown up. This is my original design, with the rose for my name, Mia. Ava didn't know that because she stole the idea. The guests gasped. Someone said, I saw Mia's design in that magazine. It was stunning. Everyone was astonished. They turned, congratulating Mia on her real success. My father, Thomas, had been quietly watching. He looked at Ava with crushing disappointment. He came and hugged me. I caught the scent of his old cologne, a smell I'd forgotten. I'm proud of you, Mia. I should have said it sooner, he whispered in my ear. Ava stood there, frozen. Then she abruptly turned on her heel. Her high heels clicked quickly as she rushed out of the hall. She left Jack and the furious whispers behind her. I stood up, holding my glass. My voice rang out. Happiness doesn't have a timeline. Being single isn't a deficiency. It was the time I spent building myself to be ready for real love. People, like me who marry later, the late bloomers, we bring maturity and resilience. Love doesn't have a timeline. It's about finding your person when the moment is right. May everyone find happiness when they're ready. The crowd applauded, their eyes shining with admiration. I had finally found someone who saw my worth from the start. The humiliation at that wedding became my ticket to true love and the sweetest revenge. If you've ever been branded with a name, past your prime, pitiable single, or failure, understand this. Your value doesn't lie in someone else's words. It lies in the respect you give yourself. Hit subscribe right now to join the community of late bloomers. Let's affirm together. Happiness has no deadline. After seeing this huge reversal, do you believe Ava's arrogance was rightly punished? True justice. Or was this just Mia's luck? Fate? Drop a comment below and join the debate.